What, we some kind of Suicide Squad?
I am Iron Man.
You are a toy!
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Server Anakin! I have the high ground!
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
I'm simply saying that life, finds a way.
Welcome back to the Big Movie Boys podcast, the only podcast that believes in second chances. I'm your host, Jeremy Ballman, and with me as always is Ben Stitch.
What's going on out there?
Bob Liebel.
What's up?
And returning to the podcast once more is Ben Petko.
Thank you, everyone, and it's great to be back on this great podcast. It's one of the tops on iTunes top 100 podcast list, as well as Spotify's top 100 podcast list. And it's a pleasure to be here, and
this is gonna
thank you
suck.
for having me.
Me and Bob protested a lot about having this guest be brought back.
Thank you for having me back, guys. I'm one of the top guests of all time.
I don't know.
The top guest of all time.
I don't know how you got on it.
Well, here's the deal. So last time Petko was on the podcast, it was kind of a mess. I'm not going to blame it all on Petko. I will take a good portion of the blame, but there's no denying statistics and numbers. Petko's episode on YouTube has 4,000 views. Our next highest episode is about 650.
I don't know what it was. It definitely wasn't you. It was an episode on Apocalypse.
It's a great movie, and I was happy to be here to talk about it. And obviously, it had something to do with me because we have to look at the common denominators in the other podcast, of which I was not involved. They have far less views than the podcast that I was on.
If this one gets over 10, I'll be.
That's the true judge. If this gets similar views, then maybe you're going to be on permanent.
Oh,
fourth mic. That's good to hear. Maybe I do have time some nights, and I could possibly come on as a fourth mic pending contract agreement and various pay structure.
Another peek behind the curtain in Petko's appearances. So last time we reviewed Apocalypto. That was an alternate selection after your first choice, Les Mis, was not streaming on any services.
And I was about to bring back Les Mis for this episode, as it is now streaming on Netflix, but I was afraid of too much pushback on that.
Version?
The new version with Anne Hathaway, who's the Australian guy? Hugh Jackman, but he's not Australian. Russell Crowe, I believe, is Australian. Hey, who knows? But Russell Crowe is a great singer in that movie. We can talk about that movie a little. Has everyone seen that movie?
No. Well, I don't even know anybody that's besides you.
So why'd you not pick it?
I didn't want to hear the bullshit. I'm already getting enough bullshit.
Well, I was just going to say.
Maybe next time I'm on, once this gets 4,000 views as well.
This time around, you went with Blood Diamond, which we'll be reviewing later, which was your alternate after The Notebook wasn't streaming on anything.
Well, Jeremy, that is correct. And unfortunately, The Notebook was not on HBO Max, which I believe it was. Maybe we could go deep in the archives and see if it was taken off recently. Because 2 weeks ago, it was definitely on HBO Max.
Is that when you watched it?
I've been watching it in about a year-ish, but it is a great movie, and I wish we could have talked about it, but Blood Diamond is also a very strong film, and I can't wait to dive into that one as well.
And so I listened back to our last episode with you, and one of the all-time greatest Petko quotes came at the tail end of that one, which was, there's always a bigger fish in the pond until you reach the Catholic Church. Have you reflected on that at all?
That's still true.
I still stand by that one. The Catholic Church is a very powerful entity. The globalists are obviously trying to take down the Catholic Church with some sort of nihilistic viewpoint on the world and the ultimate killing of God by our culture.
You don't think it's all the children's sex scandals?
Well, I would say that although that is bad, the Catholic Church has definitely done a lot worse than that throughout history, and it's seemed to get away with that. So, and one thing that I've seen recently. Maybe we could throw this up on some sort of Instagram post later on, but there is a beautiful picture of the Pope in the 80s riding around Vatican City in a Ferrari, surrounded by various important men in suits. And that's when I realized that the Catholic Church has a lot of clout, and they deserve it, and they are very powerful, and I respect them. And I'm a confirmed Catholic, as well as
When's the last time you went to church?
a few of other people.
A decade?
Redacted. We're not going to talk about that. I refuse to answer that question.
That's a HIPAA violation.
We're not going to talk about faith, but I stand by that quote. Getting back to the matter at hand here, folks.
I got one last question for you before we jump into it, Pekka. I know that your apartment does not contain a television, so what have you been watching lately that the people listening should also be watching?
Nothing. How the fuck do you watch?
Wait, how did you watch Blood Diamond on your phone?
I watched Blood Diamond on my computer. What have I been watching lately?
I watched it on my phone. I really did.
I've been watching a lot of Tour de France highlights on YouTube. And
that one sign where
Big Crash?
I watched the Big Crash. What else have I been watching? I've been watching some macroeconomics videos on YouTube. George Gammon, he breaks down a lot of good stuff.
Oh yeah, I know him.
He's actually going to be our guest next week, so that works out.
George Gammon's a great follow on YouTube to learn about central banking systems, folks. I do not watch a lot of things. I simply don't have the time.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us today. We're before we review Blood Diamond, there's a big event getting kicked off this weekend. Are you guys familiar with the Olympics?
I've heard of it.
I can't believe they're having it.
They were gonna cancel it.
They probably should.
There was a thing that came out like literally on Thursday.
They're more worried about the athletes fucking than they are about COVID spreading.
Have you seen the videos of people jumping on the beds, though? They put like 4 guys on the bed and they jumped up and down and it did not break. So that whole anti-sex bed. Although, the thing about them having sex in the village, super true. I guess that's
all they do.
Yeah, they're just all fucking there. Like,
and they've given less condoms this year. This is, what a great segue.
Well, anyway, we weren't going to talk about the Olympic fuck village, but I'm glad we got that in there. We were going to talk about what we would do to spice up the opening ceremonies, because I don't know about you guys. Did anyone watch the opening ceremonies?
I watched them.
They were this morning, right?
Yeah.
I don't have a TV and I was at work.
I was at work too, but I wasn't doing any work. I watched the part where they brought out all the nations, which took literally 2 hours. I watched it.
It always does.
It started. I watched like the live one though, like when it started this morning. They kept showing the U.S. in the hotel, then on the bus, and then in the stadium. I did see one really cool drone thing though. I don't know if anybody see the thing they did with the drones.
I don't care about the drone bullshit. It's just literally programmed in a computer. So where's the skill or where's the class?
Visually, it looked like a big giant like Death Star in the sky, basically made out of like 1,000 drones. It was pretty sweet. I would like to see have you
don't
watch
care.
It. You didn't even see it.
I'll send a couple of shotgun shells towards them. I don't care about technology or science. For the record on this podcast.
Thank you for clearing that up. So, I was just going to, leave this to an open forum. What would we do to really spice up the opening ceremonies? How do we get more eyes on them? How do you kick off an event as prestigious as the Summer Olympics?
Well, Jeremy, I'm going to need a little more context there because it often does come down to the country where the Olympics are being hosted. It does come down to a lot of cultural factors. So are you saying perhaps if the Olympics were hosted in Buffalo, New York?
Sure.
No. I have one for Tokyo. This is what I would have done. Big old Japanese flag, right? You got the sun in the middle. Skateboarding is new in the Olympics here. You get Nigel Houston flying off a little kicker ramp, smashes right through the fucking flag, goes down, flies up, tags Tony Hawk off. He goes through the Olympic rings.
So it's just American skateboarders.
Yeah, just going back and forth, like over grinding on the Olympic rings and shit. Lots of fireworks. Maybe somebody shotguns a beer or something. I think that would really get the people going.
I think there should be an alcohol level aspect here. People should be getting fucking riled up like it's a championship
At the
parade.
very least, shaking champagne or something, right?
I know they're not having fans here, but this is where, like, when it's not your country coming out, like, this is where you should be amping up the other countries, like, the one time to celebrate every other country.
Got a good little idea here. And it's...
Was this in Tokyo or Buffalo?
Anywhere that the Olympics happen, that year, any countries that are at war, everyone sends one soldier. And they all fight each other in a gladiator style
to the death
duel. And whoever wins, that's who wins the war.
I'm actually
and
okay
the war
with that.
ends.
Well, it's so
no
awkward.
more war. We don't.
Every 4 years we settle all wars.
Dude, it's so awkward. Like when they showed like Afghanistan coming out today, they bring out Afghanistan And then they're just like, yeah, like U.S. is finally pulling out after 20 years, and like,
they're just talking about the war.
Yeah, I'm just like, what? That's so awkward. Like, can you imagine like these countries? They're like, yeah, there's U.S. just smoked our ass, and
So instead, we're sending our
Literally-
our best Navy SEAL to fight their
They'll
best.
never win a medal.
they had never won a medal.
Literally every country
Okay.
that walks out
Why
has
did-
been fucked backwards by the U.S.
Like, what is
So
that like for them? Like, these people
That's
are
not
like,
true.
that's gotta suck.
I think there should be a live performance by some very well-known band. I'm talking like Pepsi halftime show level performance.
We would if it was in the West.
See,
for
here's
sure.
the thing, Jeremy. Though, since it's the Olympics, it has to be like global person, like the world,
Mr.
perhaps.
Worldwide?
Possibly Mr. Worldwide.
Dua Lipa.
And it's also like Tokyo.
Dua Lipa is respected around the world.
Japanese people don't even want the Olympics. It's such a shit show. They should have done something crazy.
I was thinking Coldplay could make a very good Olympic
That is a
anthem.
great idea. Coldplay stands out in my mind as
Coldplay
the
just,
greatest
to
band of
me,
all time.
Seems like a
On
band that
record
could
saying
make
that.
a worldwide anthem.
Yeah.
Let's all go around and say our favorite Coldplay song.
Isn't that what Viva La Vida already is, Jer?
It's pretty damn close.
Do you like Viva La Vida? That's your favorite Coldplay
No,
song?
absolutely not.
My favorite Coldplay song is
Yellow.
Hurts Like Heaven.
The Scientist.
Mine's yellow.
I like Yellow. Don't Panic. What's everyone's favorite Coldplay song? Everyone sound off in the comments.
One person.
All the listeners sound off in the comments. What is your favorite Coldplay song?
All right. Well, with that, any final thoughts on how we open up the Olympics, or any particular Olympic events we're looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm back in on softball. Softball's in it this year again, and I fucking love watching grown men hit the ball so fucking far for no reason. It should not be an Olympic sport.
softball?
I think that's what it is. I could be wrong on this
They
one,
have
but
baseball
they
and
ba-
then
I'm
women's
pretty-
softball.
Oh.
Men's baseball.
I thought it was men's slow
I thought
pitch
there was
softball.
Olympic Bar League softball.
What are you talking about?
They used to have slow pitch softball, and the American team would just fucking kill everyone.
In the Olympic.
Yeah,
Can't confirm.
Twitch is making stuff up. I'm looking forward to handball for sure, folks.
handball's exhilarating.
We all want to see handball.
All right, let me
Handball's one of
amend
those-
mine then. American. I want to see if the men's basketball team, the Americans, can win it all.
Well, they actually might have trouble this year. But the thing about like handball, badminton, all these other sports are like they're ones that
Badminton.
are very entertaining when you watch them, and the only time you're ever gonna watch them. Olympics. But like
Same thing with like
handball,
volleyball.
Hey,
right?
I can get into some handball.
They got ping
water
pong.
polo.
Ping pong's
Water
in the
polo's-
Olympics.
Water
That
polo
is
might
crazy.
be no, but water polo
Table
might be the
tennis.
hardest sport in the world. You have to float
Water
around
polo
the
is
whole time
actually-
while you're being dunked under.
Water polo actually
Gives me
basically
anxiety to
drowning
watch
the
that
entire
one.
time. But yeah, I'd say obviously track and field for me. But no, it's just fun. I like watching the obscure sports and getting super invested in like some guy that works like behind the counter at CVS that is also an Olympic athlete.
I'm just looking forward to the skateboarding. I still don't
That's
even know
your
how it's going to work, but I don't know what the point system is, but I'm excited to watch it. Tony Hawk's there. Saw him on the news this morning, so he'll make sure it runs smoothly. All right. Are you boys ready to move on to the movie of the day? It may seem random. But that's because it is. We watched Blood Diamond. This movie released on
How
December.
is this random?
What was your reason for picking it?
Because we said
This
no
may
to the other one.
seem random. Like you review movies on this channel, right?
Well, usually we pick a movie that's
Try to come up with
topical
some-
or
yeah.
new, or we have some sort of reason for picking it. But
We don't just like fucking put a shitload of movies in a hat and pick one out.
It does
Oh,
feel
you
that
guys
way.
don't? Wow, that's news to me.
anyway, this movie was released on December 8th, 2006, directed by Edward Zwick, written by Charles Leavitt, C. Gabby Mitchell. This movie stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Jaimin Hanzu, Jennifer Connelly, and others. Petko, this was your pick. I assume you've seen it before. Bob or Ben, have either of you seen this movie prior to your viewing this week?
No.
Neither have I. So we're all watching with fresh eyes. Petko, how many times have you seen it, would you say?
I would say I've seen this movie 4 times.
Okay. Well, let's start with you then. Why did you pick this movie? Or, going into it again, why do you like this movie so much, just kind of keeping it general?
I like this movie because it's exhilarating. There's a lot of emotion involved. It's action-packed. It's a great storyline. And, there's a lot of great gunfight.
Is this your favorite movie of all time?
I wouldn't say this is my favorite movie of all time.
Okay. Ben, what about, do you agree with that? Was that wrap up your general thoughts after watching it?
No, I guess not. This movie was, I see Jeremy has a note that it's good but not great. That's how I feel about this movie. It was good. The first like half hour, I just like was struggling to get into it. Maybe it was getting over the leap of Leo's 3 different accents that he uses. He's speaking South African accent, and then he's like speaking in an African accent or like a Caribbean accent. I don't know what he's really doing. Petko can enlighten us later. I guess he's shutting his eyes at me. And then like he breaks into an American accent at one point. It was just tough, I guess, to get into that. And then so obviously I didn't watch this movie in one sitting. That would have been wild.
That would have been crazy.
So the second sitting I had was like the last hour and a half of this movie, and that part of the movie I enjoyed way more.
Bob, where do you fall?
Yeah, for me, I think it was entertaining. I didn't love it. I got some enjoyment out of it. It was one movie that I actually remember the preview way back.
When you were 10, it was around your birthday.
So, yeah, maybe that's why. No, they used to play previews for this on Monday Night Raw all the time. And
that checks out.
Yeah, and I literally thought, I was like, that looks fucking sweet. So I remember the trailers.
Yeah, I would say I'm probably above Ben and Bob then. I don't know if I liked it as much as Petko. I certainly enjoyed it. I thought it was good. There were lulls though. There were points of it that I did not like as much as others. The ending in particular, I thought hurt the movie more than it helped it. I didn't love the ending. Maybe we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Ben read my note already. Good, not great. I enjoyed it. I think I would recommend it to people, but I'm not saying stop what you're doing if you haven't seen Blood Diamond yet. What, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? It's free on YouTube with ads, and as long as every 12 to 15 minutes you're okay with hearing, she had the voice, and now she wants the respect, because I saw a 15-second unskippable ad for the Aretha movie.
Bro, I did not get one of those.
Yeah,
I didn't get that.
Every single ad break.
Spanish.
I've seen that one before.
Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah, I got to skip a lot of mine, but just watching this, I would say Leo is probably my favorite actor, and this is easily my least favorite Leo movie.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty easy for me to say that.
I would say Djimon Hounsou was better than Leo in this movie.
I agree. He
needs to be in more movies.
He's the main star of this movie. Like I find myself rooting.
Yeah.
Rooting for him. Yeah. You're not rooting for him by the end. Like the whole point of this movie is kind of to get that one diamond, and the whole time I'm rooting for him to get it, not Leo.
Really? I guess I disagree. Well, I guess for me, Leo is the focal point.
I think he does.
He is the star. Obviously, they want him to be the star of the movie. I'm just saying, I found myself rooting for, what was it, Solomon?
Solomon, yeah.
Does anybody nominate for any award?
I couldn't tell you.
I feel like
there was a lot of awards.
Solomon, Andy, the guy that played him, that guy did really well. Leo just did, probably one of his worser, lower performances. It was still okay. He's still obviously an amazing actor.
All right, well, full warning, we're going full spoilers moving on from here, because there's no point in holding back any further for a 15-year-old movie. You've heard whether or not we recommend it already, so if you want to pause and come back, you can do that. But Petko, do you want to sell us a little bit more? I know you got some notes there, or I could lead with some of my notes here.
Yeah, lead with some of your notes, and I'll jump.
All right, well, I'm going to start with my criticisms then. That way we can end on a more positive note. Petko, you said you liked the action. One of my criticisms is on the action. It felt, first of all, repetitive. There's a couple different scenes, and they all start off very intense, but then I feel like, I don't know, maybe they just go on too long. Just feels a little bit repetitive, and I don't think the action is particularly well shot. Not the worst thing I've ever seen, but
they should be dead. I'm sorry, they got attacked by the RAF or RUF or whatever.
Yeah, what letter is it?
RUF.
They literally got attacked by them. I'm not even making this up. Maybe 8 times, and they literally got shot at probably 1,000. You're telling me Leo is the only person that gets clipped one time at the very end?
Yes.
That to me, I'm like, just either have more people get injured, either have more characters that die off throughout the trying to.
Well, there's the teacher guy too, right?
I guess
a lot of people died. Bartender friend, teacher guy.
But people that were with them from the. Well, that makes it even more unbelievable. Bartender friend dies the first time he encounters them, but Leo's literally ran into them 6 times throughout the movie. So I think
he's a former soldier in the Rhodesian Wars.
I get. He got
sent to Angola.
The explanation does make sense because yes, he is fucking the the South African Terminator, basically.
They bring it up. They bring it up that he is an exceptional soldier.
But he's still
exceptional at staying alive because his parents were murdered on their farm 9 years old.
But still,
how did he get away from?
But still, I don't think
Well,
they
not
need to
super
show
exceptional
They
because he's
didn't
only
have to show
31.
that many scenes of them
Yeah,
in gunfights. I would say just either take some of those out or have him get hurt once he's got to patch up his arm or something. That's all I need. It just felt
But
silly.
like Jeremy even said, though, it is just repetitive. It's the same thing. It's just a lot of gunfights, and that's when I would check out and look at my phone because I'm like, okay, I get it. Either someone's gonna get hit here or they're not, and either way, at the end of this scene, it's just like it's not really gonna matter.
Would you like my second criticism? Because it's really my last one, my last major one at the very least.
Okay.
The Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Connelly relationship, I didn't particularly like, and it all starts with Leo falsely, what's his name? Danny Archer?
Danny Archer.
Great name. Danny Archer. It all starts with Archer, like, falsely comparing what he does to what she does, and how saying, like, morally they're on the same side of this conflict, even though he's, like, actively contributing to it, and she's actively, like, trying to expose the world to it. It just feels like such a false equivalency made right at the very beginning, and then they just accept it for the rest of the movie.
Jared, why are you playing games?
No wonder you love this movie. You genuinely think Leo's a good guy in this movie.
No, I don't think he's a good guy in this movie. And I have a lot written down about redemption, what it means to be a human. But I think when does that comparison happen? When they're at the bar?
Correct.
No, he's just trying to say that she's not as out of this game as she thinks, and she's not doing as much as she.
Right, I got that point, but
it's factual. Like, no one gives it.
Sure, but I'm pretty sure he basically says, like, oh, you work at a company that advertises diamonds. That's why I gotta smuggle all these diamonds across the borders.
He's saying that the Americans don't actually. So her job is pointless. That's what he's trying to say.
I guess.
No, I get it. I mean, how much time did they spend together? The time in this movie kind of off.
It's been 2 days.
Because my biggest thing is nobody got a haircut.
Several weeks.
I was saying that the whole time. So
it's several weeks. It's several weeks.
They brainwashed this guy's son to be a child
3
soldier,
days.
and like he's going through all these
That's
places.
a good point.
Nobody gets a haircut, and him and Leo are presumably trekking through the wilderness for like it plays like a couple weeks.
It's a good point.
It's not weeks. It's definitely not weeks. I think it's about 4 days.
No, but then why is the child soldier
how does he get brainwashed?
Yeah. That was my biggest thing.
I'm just talking about the trekking through the wilderness.
How long does it take to brainwash somebody to be a child soldier? Just asking for a friend.
I don't know. I've only tried it a couple times.
Bob's gonna have some child soldiers running around.
The child soldier stuff was kind of like, that's like super.
And that's super. That's the saddest part of the movie.
They almost toned that down. I've seen like some documentaries about that shit. And
I either want a better actress there, I guess, because like I just didn't believe it. What else has this woman been in? I think I've seen her in like two other things.
She's been in a bunch. I liked her.
She's famous. I don't know.
Requiem for a.
And I'm not like, maybe they just gave her like bad lines. Like it just wasn't. It didn't
I don't
feel.
think they didn't
Do you need the love interest? Obviously, you can't. Apparently, you can't sell a movie in America without a love interest. You kind of don't need this at all.
In 2006, you couldn't.
I don't necessarily know why they needed to kill Leo in the end of this. This is obviously jumping ahead.
I don't think they did.
I didn't need it. I'm just saying.
Also,
they're not ending up together no matter what.
Maybe 20 feet.
Should I talk about that?
Maybe he had to travel
Go
20 more feet up the mountain, and he would have been safe.
It just didn't look like it was like a real wound. You knew he was going to die as soon as he was shot, but I'm just saying I don't know if you need him to die. Petko, tell me why he needed to die.
He needs to die in this situation because he needs to carry out the full Christ archetype. And what happened here is that I'll read a couple notes that I have.
Dude, I knew this. Was the Notebook gonna relate to God?
No, he's trying to resolve the current issue with Christianity, right? You think you can make the sacrifice, and
all this.
You think you can try and do the full redemption of your entire life? Like, he has a terrible life. What do you think, he's just gonna go live in America and be fine?
Probably, yeah.
It's
London.
not. He's not gonna be able to put this stuff away. So he needs to fulfill his full hero archetype, which is Christ the Redeemer archetype. And he needs to die, and he needs to accept his place in the world. So, and that's what gets carried out at the end of this film, and that's what he realizes when he's looking over the beautiful landscape of Africa, and he realizes, this is the only way it could have ever gone. What's he gonna do? Go live with her in America and dwindle away and think about all this shit he's done in his life?
I guess I'm okay with what you're saying. I'm just like, I guess I don't want him to think he's fully like recovered. Yeah, because he's given him the diamond and said point the gun at the pilot's head. Like, I don't think he fully recovers. Like, he didn't. Like, 10 minutes before this, he's pointing a gun at Solomon's head, saying like, "Don't fuck with me or I'll kill you." Like, he still wants. If he doesn't get shot, he's not giving Solomon the diamond.
Yeah, I don't feel like he's redeemed at the end because. Yeah, he never really takes.
I think the more redemptive like ending is like he does live, and then he gets to London, and he either sets up Vander or whatever the bad diamond dealer is, or he gives Solomon the diamond no matter what.
I think this is the full redemption he could have.
It's easier to give the diamond away when you're dying.
In a Jungian sense, from a psychoanalytical perspective, what makes this the full redemption is that he accepts who he is. This is his full redemption arc. He needs to die in Africa. In this way. I think it's the only way it could have ended.
Jeremy? A lot to digest there.
Sure. I guess. I don't know that I read that out of it, but I'm glad you did.
What do you think, this guy's gonna go to America and do what? Be a operations strategist at somewhere? What is he gonna do in America? Be a financial advisor?
I do sort of agree with.
What is this guy gonna do? Like, he can't get out of Africa. This is all he knows.
I understand that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I guess the only place where I may slightly disagree is that are you arguing that he has come to this realization prior to him accepting death, or is this just
I think death
once he
brings it
has accepted death, that's when he accepts his fate in every sense?
Is that he never could have done that even if
it's still redemption, I think. Even if he's already dying, in my view of the Catholic Church, my creed of this film, because he comes to peace before he dies. That's all you can really ask for. Like, it's all struggle. So,
does he go to heaven then? Is that what you're saying?
I don't believe in that.
You're a devout Catholic.
What's your guys'
I would never say that. I've never, for the record, I've never said that. Leave that in.
Before we get to favorite scenes, Bob, if I may interject one more thing while we're kind of on this loose topic here, I wanted to draw some parallels to Apocalypto. Now, granted, I didn't see the Jesus analog parallel in both of these movies personally, but I did notice a few. Obviously, Apocalypto is on my mind, but Solomon's story not too different from the protagonist in Apocalypto, whose name I cannot think of. But
Dragon? Or it's like
Jaguar
Jaguar
Punk, good call.
Wow.
But
I love that movie.
they're in their little village area, gets invaded, gets separated from his family, and then a big part of the movie going forward is him trying to reunite with his family. Obviously, a lot of differences as well, but
a lot of differences on the way there, but yeah, you're right.
Top level, some similarities. There was also a very similar scene. This isn't only in Apocalypto, but when Archer's about to get his arms cut off, and at the very last second, that warlord guy is
Solomon is.
Or yes, sorry, thank you. Solomon's about to get his arms cut off. Last second, the warlord guy is like, "No, we'll send him to the diamond mines." Very similar to Jaguar Paw, almost getting sacrificed by the Mayans, right? They were Mayans.
Yes.
And then very last second gets saved. Obviously, that's in a lot of movies, but drew parallels to both of those. Were there, Petko, was this a subconscious choice of yours to choose movies with thematic parallels, or was it just a happy coincidence?
Well, I wouldn't say subconscious. That's not a phrase that I use in my viewing of psychoanalytics. I would maybe say unconscious. As that is
same fucking thing.
From a technical level, no, it's not the same. From a very bird's eye view level, they are similar, but they are not the same thing. From an unconscious level, I would say, yeah, I do respect a family man, and I respect someone who gets to go on a wonderful journey.
You're jealous of Solomon in this movie?
I'm jealous of Solomon.
It looks like he has a real good time throughout this.
And I'm jealous of Jaguar Paw as well, because they get to prove themselves to the world and prove themselves to themselves. That makes them a lot stronger in the long run. And that is something that, honestly, all these movies are an allegory to our own mental capacities and the way we have to play these roles out in our mind now in the modern world. So, yes, there are both people I look up to in general when you are battling with certain mental calamities, as I'd say in the modern world, where we don't actually get to watch archetypes play out. Thank you.
We never know how to respond to that.
I mean, those are most of my notes. Yeah, should we go around our favorite scenes? Ben, let's start with you.
I think my favorite scene is right before they go on the last diamond chase, and they're like a good sneak around. Leo's stealing supplies while Jennifer Connelly's distracting the guard. I like their, even though I don't think it was chemistry built enough, but I do like their little interaction. I like Solomon getting ready to go. It was like the build up right before the end scene. There's a lot of, I think 45 minutes of this movie is watching like child soldiers like shoot at them, and like I can't they all are the same scene, so it's tough to say any of those scenes. So like it's hard to like kind of pick out scenes. There's not really many different chunks of this movie.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily call this my favorite scene, but an early scene that made me know I think I would like this movie and at least like Leonardo DiCaprio in it was when he is trying to smuggle the diamonds in the goat's neck or whatever and gets stopped by the military, and he's like, "Oh, I'm with National Geographic." And obviously the guy calls him out immediately, and then he immediately tries to bargain with the guy, but I was like, okay, that really just kind of built the world, I think. You understood exactly what you were getting into from that point. What about you, Pekka? Is there a standout scene for you?
One of my favorite scenes is early on in the film when they land in the plane. They go meet with that one warlord. This whole movie just kind of highlights a lot of types of business that I would like to conduct personally, and that I feel like would be very fun in general. Be a part of, like.
So you're okay with all the people dying around this market? Is that the freest market?
It's tertiary, like it's not actually involved in the market, but it stems from the market.
What do you think about the final call to action at the end title card that says, "It's up to the consumer to insist on conflict-free diamonds"?
Well,
very much reeks of if we all use paper straws, we can solve climate change.
Well, I was going to bring it up because we do have three beautiful boys here who are ready to buy diamonds themselves.
Who are you talking about?
What the fuck are you talking about?
The three people I'm with tonight are all gearing up to buy diamonds.
I don't think that's true at all.
At least me and Bob are in relationships, but what is Jeremy buying a diamond for?
And we won't talk about it on the podcast yet. But we got three men gearing up to buy diamonds, and it's interesting for me to just posit the question.
I'm going to say I don't want conflict diamonds.
How will you ensure?
I don't give a shit if I'm going to answer it honestly. I truly do.
How will you ensure their conflict?
Dude, if a child soldier had to snipe some guy in the head for me to get a cheaper diamond,
But that's the point.
Well, there you have it, folks.
I don't.
Well, there you have it, folks. Heard from Bob first here. We're getting a
let's
sense
answer
of
honestly. Next time, if I go to buy a fucking diamond, am I going to think, "Ooh, how many kids got their heads blown off for this?" No, not at all.
How will you ensure it's conflict free? They mix them all up.
Apparently, you just have to ask.
Supposedly, the U.S. doesn't buy conflict diamonds anymore, but I'm calling bullshit.
Who believes that?
Yeah. So yeah, I ran through my notes. I got my biggest ones out of the way. Petko, is there any more in your notebook there that you want to share?
Can we just go around real quick and talk about how you think something like a cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin compares to a natural resource such as a diamond? Because I'm a big fan of natural resources myself. Diamond, gold, oil, lumber.
You don't have to list all the natural resources in the world.
I love natural resources,
Rubber.
and it's one of the things that doesn't allow me to get into Bitcoin. And one observation I had on this particular film, it's like, how can we prove Bitcoin is valuable? We know in this film that diamonds are valuable because people are willing to kill each other for them. That's how you prove value in this world.
Okay, how can
Stop
you
screaming.
How can you prove that the fucking U.S. dollar is valuable? It's not backed up by gold.
Because people will
literally cost.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying it has value because people will fucking shoot you in the head for it.
You're saying people aren't
If
shooting
you
people
had
in the
a-
head for Bitcoin.
I've never seen it. I've never heard of it. I'm saying that diamond.
Okay, I get your point now, kind of.
If you have $1 million in your hand, I'll blow your head off and take it. If you have a diamond, I'll try and kill you and take it.
If I had, like, if you could somehow
I don't know
take my
how-
phone that had all that Bitcoin on it, and it could go right to you somehow.
I would try and do it. I don't
Seems like the
know.
movie
I don't
In
see that
Time.
happening. I don't know how that works because it's fake.
So when does it fall apart?
Are you saying Bitcoin is conflict free? Is that your point here?
I'm saying the conflict creates the value. If people aren't
The true value.
like real value in the world, if I'm not willing to put my life on the line for something,
Like, you wouldn't.
then what is the value? And it goes for anything.
I'm so in on this.
So
Don't egg him on.
what do you like? Can we go around and talk? What do you think about that, Jeremy? Because for me, Bitcoin is very sexy, right? There's no libido there. There's no energy behind it. It's all some computer shit floating around in the ether. For me, a diamond, yeah, you see it, it's shiny. It makes you get pumped up. It makes you want to beat the shit out of someone and take it from them. You see a gold bar, you want it. A Bitcoin floating around the ether, I don't give a fuck. Right? What do you think
So
about
because
that?
you can't steal Bitcoin, is that what it comes down to? Because that's what I'm getting out of this. Because I do agree with
basically
you.
what he's saying.
Gold, diamonds, literal money out of somebody's wallet, even their fucking credit card. You
I'm
can steal
sure-
that shit
I'm
and use that shit. How do you steal
100%
Bitcoin?
positive someone's been killed over Bitcoin.
Think about
Yes,
it.
but how do you steal Bitcoin for your own good?
You hack it. I'm saying, like, there's ways to steal
I'm
it.
saying on like
Hacking is not the same as slitting somebody's fucking neck.
I'm saying on a
Not speaking
visceral
from
level. I'm
experience.
saying on like a human level, like a human nature level. Like I see gold, I want that shit. I see. I hear about a Bitcoin on the article. I don't give a fuck. Come on, let's go to some mines. Let's get some
Gold's
real.
shiny, diamonds are shiny. Neanderthals back in the day are like, I want that shiny shit. That's
Let's
why
go to some real mines and get some natural damn resource. That's what's fun. Dicking around on your keyboard isn't fun. Going to a mine and forcing people to dig up diamonds for you, that is fun. And that is what humans are meant to do.
Going to a village and enslaving children and teaching them to shoot people and brainwashing them
Fun.
is good quality.
What can you do with a Bitcoin? Whirl it around on your desktop?
There's no child soldiers for it.
There probably is. Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I don't know exactly where you're going with this, but I'm pretty sure all cryptocurrency is just a money laundering scheme. So there's nothing more human than finding a way to make more money, and I think that's what crypto is. All right. Well, with that, I think we all learned a little something today. Petko, thank you very much for having us watch Blood Diamond. As much as I, said it wasn't my favorite movie ever, I certainly am glad I watched it.
Saying that.
Petko has a tear running down his eye right now.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this week, boys. Next week, I don't know what we're doing. I don't have the calendar in front of me, but
Sounds
Petko
like
again.
they're open for me to come on.
Petko, thank you again for joining us.
Well, I'd like to thank all the movie boys for having me here today, and it was a great honor to come on the podcast today and just say a couple words about various situations that
All
came
right,
to mind.
everyone. Thank you for listening, and remember, in America, it's bling bling, but out here, it's bling bang. See you next week.